Hey guys, got a little sad story right here. This accident was actually from what year? It's been a few years. 2020, April 30th, 2020. Over in Georgia, truck driver has been sentenced to 15 years in prison after a crash while adjusting his radio nearly 5 years ago. And I felt like this is a story that we need to kind of, as truck drivers, pay attention to. And here's the reason why. The crash happened on April 30th, 2020 on Interstate 75 in Macon, Georgia. According to 13 WMAZ, truck driver Arthur Waldrop, I want to say Waltrip, you know, how many of you guys want to say that, was driving his commercial vehicle along I-75 when he looked down to adjust his radio. A driver-facing camera show Waltrip took his eyes off the road for more than 20 seconds and traveled over 100 yards before eventually crashing into the back of the car. Footage of the accident showed debris exploding from the car driven by 70-year-old beloved pastor Clifford Scott, as it was crushed by the impact. I was looking at something else. The multi-ton truck driven by Walter. And man, listen. First of all, if the family of the pastor Scott there, all of us drivers, this is this is our fear, and understand that our hearts are with you guys. In those 20 seconds of distracted driving, a life was lost, according to the district attorney, Anita Howard. This case serves as a somber reminder of the devastating consequences that can result from momentary distracted driving. So here's the thing. We all done it. We're going down the road and we're adjusting our radio, right? And this is my advice to especially you younger drivers that are out there, newer drivers getting into the industry. When you first get into a truck that you're not familiar with, before you even move that truck, you need to get familiar with every single switch, every single knob, every single dial, everything, including your radio, because you want to be entertained. You just don't want to go down the road just listening to nothing. You want to be entertained, so you need to know, have a preset, if you're listening to over-the-air radio. Obviously, if you're OTR, that's impossible to have presets that last, Looking at this driver, looked like it was a day cab. Okay, so most definitely he was should have had some presets or changing channels or whatnot. But in my situations, my years on the road, when I'm changing the channel or something like that, I already know what knob I'm going for. I'm looking at the road still. You know what I mean? Because I already know what knobs and what buttons do whatever. I'm not taking my eyes off the road to adjust the radio. And nowadays, especially in newer trucks, this is an older Peterbilt. I don't know if he had any. I don't know if that's older or not, but it is a Peterbilt. I don't know if he had any buttons on the steering wheel. But a lot of trucks now, they have those buttons on the steering wheel. That way you don't have to reach up and do exactly like this. But 20 seconds is a little much. Don't you guys think? For over 20 seconds, this driver was looking off and being distracted. Glancing off the road every now and then is one thing. 20 seconds is overkill. And listen, this just makes these driver-facing cameras, okay? It just makes companies want to use them more because they're covering their tail. They're covering their butt, okay? And so if you get in an accident like this is not on them anymore. It's on you, and that company is going to bail. I'm just sitting there saying that company is absolutely going to bail on you. That's just what they're going to do. And they're going to just do it even more and more because of situations like this. You guys saw where Knight and Swift, they're getting those AI intelligent things. Yeah, screw all that. I'm going to tell you what this means for this driver. Waltrip pleaded guilty to first-degree vehicular homicide on Monday, April 7th. The district attorney's office suggested 15 years in prison with 10 years served behind bars, while Waltrip's attorney argued for 3 years behind bars. The judge issued 15 years with 6 to be behind bars. The rest of it will be on probation. I'm telling you guys, we hate hearing about this. Things like this shouldn't be happening. 20 seconds is, oh my gosh, it shouldn't be done. I'm telling you, I've worked with companies that had driver-facing cameras, and they're not bad. Now, one company, and I was a day cab driver. And when you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, you're not taking your eyes off the road anyway, right? I'm not fearful of those things, but I was never OTR. I was never spending the night in the truck with those things in the truck, right? A lot of you guys are, and those are the things that you guys are against, is your privacy. They can be a good thing for coaching. I'm not going to lie. Drivers need to be open to coaching. Good drivers do. Open-minded drivers do. If I was like a safety manager at a company, my favorite drivers would be those drivers that says, hey, okay, I've been driving for 20, 30 years, but I know I could get better. And those are the good drivers. Those are the drivers I would want to have, drivers that are open-minded. But then you got those drivers sit there and say, well, I don't need no coaching, blah, 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 blah. No, we all need a refresher on everything. But anyway, my condolences to the family here, and again, just be mindful of things, right? They're getting stricter and stricter and stricter. Those cameras that have all the AI, and all that kind of stuff, I mean, they're following your face and everything. If you're looking down for X amount of time, beep, 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 Fortunately, I never had to deal with those type of cameras. They're going to make it to where you can't even drink a cup of coffee going down the road eventually. And some companies may not allow that. I know the company that I was telling you guys about that had cameras on, they would write drivers up if the camera went off and they had a burger in their hand. They would call that distracted driving. They coach you on it, right? Now, that's not to say that I would grab dinner, or grab lunch on the way back to the yard or something like that. But I would never trigger the camera. So, but if I did, they would just say, hey, they've just slapped me on the hand and say, hey, I saw you eating. I hope it tasted good. But anyways, guys, again, just, hey, man, CYA, cover your assets.